Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Lay Ralston, also known as Mommy Lay on the internet. I am so happy and excited to be back here teaching again with Michaels and of course Faber-Castell. And it's always a great time. It's always an exciting day for me, but I know I get to spend an hour of my day with all of you. And of course, I'd like to thank everyone for being here today and joining us. You should thank yourself for always doing this, because to me, I really want to honor you for being here, because I know how important it is to spend an hour from your day, from other than doing anything, you're here with us. So thank you so very much. Today's workshop is going to be really fun, super easy, super relaxing. You don't have to be an exceptional artist. I actually just shared this today on my Instagram, that you don't have to be an exceptional artist to be great in art. Because when I first started in my new career now, I never considered myself as an artist. I was always drawing stick people. And that's not an exaggeration. I was really drawing stick people. And by just spending a whole lot of time really practicing and developing, it's a skill that that you need to develop. So you need to practice, spend a little time every day to just create. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to spend an hour of just having fun creating. And I hope that it will be inspirational for you and a great time too. So for today's class, we'll be needing some watercolor pad. You'll need some water. If you have a bowl of water, I always like to say that you need at least 2 bowls of water, one for just cleaning your brushes and the other one's thoroughly cleaning it. So watercolor pad. And for today's class, I'll be using the Faber-Castell Albert Durer Watercolor Markers. So if you have something similar, the Albert Durer colored pencils will work too. And the golden Faber Aqua will work as well. So if you're ready, I am super excited. We can head on over to the overhead and let's get to creating. Okay, so like what I said, we have here, I have a water brush pen. This is from Faber-Castell. I love using this water brush just because I get really great control from it. But if you have any brushes that will work as well, like round 4, size 4, even a size 0 will work. That should work as well. And so let's talk a little bit about the Faber-Castell Albert Durer watercolor markers. So this is like a dual tip. It comes in with 2 tips. It has a bullet tip on the other end. And then on the other end, we have a brush tip. So I love using both of them for different styles. Sometimes if I want better control when I'm using for lettering, I love the bullet tip. But if I'd like to play around with my strokes to get around the thin and thick lines, then I really love using the brush side of the pen. I have some watercolor paper. And before we actually proceed to the drawing part and creating the patterns, I'd like to show you first how to use the watercolor markers. I always get, what is it? Is it a marker? Is it a watercolor? Well, it's both. It is a watercolor marker. Let's just look at the strokes that we can create by using the brush tip. See that? You can create pretty thin and thick lines. So we'll just do this. And then if you want a consistent line or stroke, you want to use the bullet tip. Because this one, you have control of your lines. So you always have that 2 option, whichever. So if you have a smaller area that you're going to color in, sometimes I love to use the bullet tip just because I know, because I have heavy hands. So it's I know I'll be much better off using the bullet tip. Okay, so when we say watercolor markers, this is magic to me, because all you need, this is very highly pigmented, by the way. You get a really good payoff with these markers. All I did was just one stroke, okay? And then let us look how much those colors are moving in. And this is how you can blend in your colors as well. I'm going to put the orange in here. Just one line also. Then I'll go here. And this is where the colors are going to meet. I love to clean my brushes in between, so you can really create that beautiful gradient. Okay, so for today's workshop, this is what we're going to create. It is up to you. If you'd like to skip the watermelon, you can do a strawberry, but I love the lemons. I really love the pineapple. Okay, hold on one second.
Sorry, it looks like both your devices are unmuted.
You know what? I can see this now that I have to mute the other one. All right, here we go. Is this better?
That's perfect.
Okay, perfect. So you can create like strawberries, grapes, cherries, blueberries. It is up to you, but I am going to create some cute lemons. Let us try and create the lemon first, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to create. Just going to use, this is the cadmium yellow in 107. And I'm just basically going to create the border or the line of the lemon itself. So let's see, a lemon, it has that tip in there. I'm going to do this like that. And then by using our water brush, I'm just going to start moving in the colors, the pigments. And then start going in and filling in this space over here. And this will really give us a pretty gradient. Like that. And once it's dry, you're really going to see that we have that darker border where we first applied our lines, and then it's going to be light in the middle part. And then we're going to add our leaves on top. I like to keep things simple. When I'm drawing kawaii style, everything is it's simplified. Everything's simplified to me. I don't like to complicate things. I don't want to overthink things. I just want to sit down and really create and enjoy. So just leaves, basic leaves. So again, I'm just creating the line art or the border. And I will repeat the same process. Just, oops. Sometimes when you have too much water, so just dab it. Always have a paper towel on the side or like a copy paper. Just start moving in. I feel like I have too much water because I dipped it over there. Just going around where I first laid down those colors and just kind of bring those colors in the middle. And also, if ever it happens to you when you have too much water, you can always grab your paper towel and just very gently dab, because you can always put in color again. To me, it's much better to have not too much water in there, because remember, the more water that you use, what's going to happen is that the less opaque your colors are going to be. So if you really want like very saturated colors, make sure that you're only using just a little bit of water, and play around with, if you're using a brush pen, play around with the amount of water that your water brush is really putting out. And so if I feel like, okay, I've So I feel like if I've erased too much of the colors, you just want to add a little bit here and there. So once it's dry a little bit, I'm just going to add a little bit more colors, and then I'm going to repeat the same process. I'll just dab my brush first to make sure that I don't have too much water. So here, and I'm just going to repeat that same process. Just going to go back in the middle. And I feel like here I want to add a little bit more. So I'm just going to go back in with my markers. This one is the Leaf Green 112. So just repeating that same process, moving over the colors up to here. All right. And now I want to blend where the two colors meet, the green and the yellow, over there. Super pretty already. Now, if you have your markers, this one is, you have to be a little careful here if you want to start adding the details inside. Like I always love to add cute faces in my lemon. So I wait till it gets really dry, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes I am impatient. And it feathers. What happens is that the ink will start feathering because of course the watercolor paper, will hold water in. But it's super cute. This is the Pitt Artist pen from Faber-Castell. This is the 1.5, so that's a bullet nib. And this time for the blush of our lemon, I'm going to use the middle purple pink. So you can also use the watercolor markers this way. If you feel like you don't want too much of this color or any color, you can always use a dish and just here put in a little bit of color in there and then pick it up with your water brush and then start adding in your cute blush and your lemon this way. So this way it's not directly onto your paper. See how you can just use it many different ways. There. So at least this one is not opaque. It's just really a pretty smooth application. It's like really a watercolor. And also if you have like limited colors, you can always blend these colors together. Like for example, I don't have, a purple color and I want a purple, then this is when knowing your color theory is always helpful because you can mix the blue and the pink and I can create my own purple color in here. See how pretty this color is going to be. So we can create like a grape fruit. So now we have purple. Yee. That's too big for the top, but you get that. Okay, so now we have that. Let's create a pineapple next. So let's try the pineapple. And this color, I'm going to be using the orange glaze in 113. So these watercolor markers are available in sets, and you can also get them open stock. So that's always helpful. Let's see. Let's try another paper. So I'm going to do the same thing. So for pineapple, I'm going to create the outer shape first. So we're going to go here. So pineapple's kind of like heavy in the bottom. It's kind of like me. Okay, that's just for a little joke. You guys need to relax and just laugh. All right, heavy bottom pineapple, hello. Okay, and then this time I'm going to use the yellow and I'm gonna go create this. All right, I'm gonna get my water brush. Make sure I clean it well because I can see it has a little bit of purple in there. All right, so now we have that two colors. You wanna start with the first line we created first, with the orange. You wanna start moving those pigments first, those colors, okay? Because we wanna create a pretty gradient here. So start moving in that first layer first. All right, and then I'm going to clean my brush. And then I'm going to move the yellow. Just move them. And they're going to blend, but it's going to look really pretty blended. These two colors are super pretty together. And then I'm just going to go start moving things in the middle. And then I'll go back in my orange and just kind of move the yellow color so they'll blend very beautifully. We have this pretty gradient. Let me zoom in so you guys can see this. Let's see. Look at that. Look at that pretty gradient. It's super pretty. All right, let's wait for that to dry. And for the watermelon, I am going to be using the pink carmine and let's see first. Let's play actually. So let's start with just one color first. So watercolor would be, watercolor, watermelon, okay, is a triangle. But notice how I created my triangle. There's not really pointy, you know, not a pointy side, but everything's kind of like chubby and stubby. Kind of like me again. All right. So we're just gonna create this. Here we go. And then we're gonna do the same thing, clean your brushes, then make sure that you just have enough water here. But I think for the first step that we want to move in the color, especially, it depends on how large your shape is. If you have a smaller shape, if you created a smaller triangle, you don't want too much water because you're going to end up with flooding, okay? But since I have a really, not, you know, a medium shape here, I want as much water so I can really move in the colors and the pigments. So I'm just going around this where I laid down the markers and just kind of go in like that. And then start pulling them, bringing them to the middle part. So we created this pretty ombre. And then I'm just going to clean my brush. And if you feel like there's too much, it's too saturated or too opaque for you, you can always dip your brush in the water, just clean, make sure it's clean. Just kind of go over the part where you want it to be less opaque. Just kind of pick up those colors, dab it in the paper towel or, you know, a piece of copy paper, scratch paper on the side, just kind of do that. So see, I'm just picking up some of the colors because I want like a really ombre look where everything's darker down at the bottom and like there's a natural highlight. So we're creating like a 3D dimensional look here. We have shadows and we have highlights. Okay. So here I feel like I want some darker here. And if you want more colors in there, but you don't, because your paper is already wet, sometimes you're going to end up ruining your paper if you apply your markers directly. Depends on how wet the surface is. So I like to have a dish on the side like this. I just kind of pick up my colors from there and start adding it onto my page. And then this way, we can add those dark areas in there and bring in some colors again. Okay. So with watercolor, everything is just kind of like a trial and error. I was really, you know, frustrated with watercolors in the beginning because I could never get this look that everybody's doing. It's like, it seems like I'm always using too much water or sometimes not enough water. But I think with everything else, just trial and error, and you kind of like get to know the type of brush that you're using, because all of that really matters, you know, what type of brush, how large of the brush you're using, how much it holds water in there. So those things you have to think about. Um, all right, here we go. So now maybe this is, okay, it's a little dry now. I'm going to start adding in our crown for a pineapple. Here, just long, skinny triangles. I'm just going to draw that. Don't overthink it, just create. So I'm just gonna do like a 3 in the middle, big, large 3 in the middle, and just 2 tiny ones on the side like that. I'm gonna clean my brush again. All right, and then start moving in the colors. This time I have a smaller space, so I wanna be careful with the amount of water that I'm going to use, because I want to keep that saturation and the opacity of the colors. So I'm just being mindful and being very intentional with every stroke I am doing. So I can just move in the colors and not end up with a floody page. Here we go. Just move everything in. And then now I'm going to clean my brush like this and I kind of blend everything on top, because now our green is going to blend with the orange that we created earlier. Also depends on how what quality your watercolor paper is. Remember that not every paper is the same. So some watercolor paper will hold the water much better, and some is just not going to. It's going to start drinking that water in there, and your page will dry off. I am using a Strathmore watercolor, and I love this one. This is the 400 series. I think the gram of this paper is like 300. Yes. So that's a good paper to use. So 140 pounds, 300 grams watercolor paper. It's a really good one. Okay, so now that we have there, we can choose to add some patterns inside. I always like to tell people to play around with your art. You know, it's always, if you want to add like dots inside, create some pattern, you want to do the stripes. You know, this time I'm using the Scarlet Red 118. You don't have to, you can just use the same orange that you have. But if you have like a darker shade of orange, any darker shade in there, you can use that. I'm going to do this, just adding line. I'm going to do a crisscross. So we're just basically diagonal. Now I'm going down, up. It doesn't matter if it's straight. Don't worry about it, like that. So create some patterns inside. You want to add like little dots in there. That's okay too. This time I'm going to choose which line that I'm going to kind of like blur a little. So with water, with using the water brush, you're gonna just blur the lines from the markers so we can still have this watercolor effect. Because sometimes applying the marker directly into your art will give this harsh line or a very sharp line. But if you want to keep that really watercolor diluted look, then you want to do this too. And just kind of going over where I apply the lines and just really gently dabbing and start moving in the colors and just kind of like really going in there and just blurring it. Okay. Softly. Here we go. Okay, then let's finish this and we're going to start creating patterns. Okay, so this one, basically we're just going to add the base of our watermelon. So I always go on the both sides first like this. Right? 2 dashes on the side. And then create a very big smile on the bottom. Eee. There we go. And then doing the same process on top. Okay, make sure that my brush is clean. And then just tapping in the excess water I have. This time I'm just gonna go start moving in from one corner like that. And then just start really moving in those 2 lines. Remember that I have a larger shape. So if you have a smaller shape, so just go little by little and start moving in your colors that way. Here we go. We have our fun watermelon. What you can do is, this is going to be a personal choice. It's up to you. If you want the green and the red really blended as well, you can start moving in colors this way. So you can blend the 2 together. So look at how intense the color is. The water, the lights might be like creating like a flushed look, but here in person, this is really intense. Very, very saturated. So here, this is going to be just, you know, look at your art, analyze it and see, okay, I feel like I have too much of the red there. Then you can start diffusing those red by adding more water and just slowly start moving the colors around little by little. I always say this, one step after the other. You know, it's always just slowly but surely thing. It's really true when it comes to watercolor. Just like what I said, it is tricky. It's just depend on how fast you want to move it, how you want to move. But you have to be patient. I try to be patient a lot. And I think that was one of the lessons I've learned from before, is that I was always very impatient. I start moving in the colors already, and then I end up with just muddy colors, and it's just not good. So just be patient, wait for one layer to dry in, and then add your next layer, and so on and so forth. So you can now add in your, grab some markers and start adding in your seeds, if, you know, but I feel like this is still wet at the bottom, but let's just, so we can have the idea of what we're going to do later. So as you can see, 1, 2, kind of like be mindful of your spaces, or if you want, just put it everywhere. It's fine too. See, the water's still wet, and like what I was talking about earlier, where your markers are going to feather, but it is a different look as well. So they look like little tiny ants inside my watermelon. I was like, this is sweet. Okay, then I'm gonna add my cute face here, my pineapple, because why not? I love my cute faces. And for my mouth, I just like having like letter U and just closing it in. With kawaii style, try everything does look cute when it's, you know, chubby. And then also with the features, if you're going to add arms in here, everything's kind of like short and chubby like that. But that's the kawaii style, you know, but it's up to you. I love adding faces. You can skip the face if you'd like. Okay, so to create a pattern, let's grab a watercolor here. I have a loose watercolor paper here. All right, I don't know which one is maybe this one. How I created the borders on the side is I just used a washi tape. So if you have any tape in there, washi tape is great to use because the adhesive will not hurt my paper. Okay, I am not good at making sure everything is balanced, but I'm just going to use the full height of my washi tape so that I don't have to worry about being balanced. There we go. And I'm just going to tape the 4 sides of my paper like this. Like that. Go on this side. All right. I'm using a silicone mat for my table. So the washi tape is having a hard time sticking to it. It's okay. All right. So there we have it. And it's not sticking. So I think I would like to create some lemons first. So this is going to be up to you what you want to create. I'm going to go zoom out real quick. Okay, here we go. And you can decide if you want a portrait or a landscape like this. So you can frame your artwork like this, or this is really pretty simple cards to give to your friends because the back is going to be clean. You can add your message in there. You can frame this. It's going to be up to you, but it's just a fun way. You can use it as a pattern paper in your journals. You can create tags from your cute illustrations. Super fun, so many ideas. Okay, so I'm going to start creating the base of my lemon. So when we created the lemon earlier, we had just created the border or the line work, right? So this is how I like to do this. Okay, so I know I'm going to create, let's start from the top first. I'm just gonna create the shapes. I'm just not gonna overthink things. So I start there. So we have 1, okay. I'm gonna add 1 here. You can fix the shape later, add that little thingy on top when you're moving the colors in, but right now just lay down really a simple oval for the body of your lemon. So I'm just gonna add another 1 here. Yep. Maybe some of the lemons are facing, directing to the left, some are leaning to the right. So play around with that, the direction. So not everything's just straight on. Okay, so now I'm gonna go add 1 here. Okay, add 1 over here. Like that. And then create 1 over here. Thank you so much. Okay, add 1 here. And then this one, we're gonna add 1 here. I'm getting like bigger and bigger. Okay. And then tiny 1 here. Okay, so we have our lemons. Once you have everything down, where's my paper towel? Sure have it. Then just start moving your colors. I'm gonna start doing that too. Just gonna fill in the middle part of the lemon, kind of like adding those little tiny things on top and also that little thing in the middle. Here we go. Repeating the same process. Adding that thing on top, adding that little thing in the middle, bottom part, there. There. It's like the more you play around with watercolors, it also puts you in this Zen mode. I'm gonna try not to be so quiet because when I'm like lettering or when I'm illustrating and creating something, sometimes I forget that I'm with you guys. I was like, okay, Lay. Oh, sorry. Here we go. When you're moving your colors, make sure to leave some of the dark area on the side because you want to leave that dark border, and that's where you're creating that shadows. So make sure when you're moving, don't try to move all the colors around. Leave some for the sides. So you can still have those darker areas on the side like that. And remember, it's like when we're creating like this, we still have the colors from the last one that you created. So you can start in the middle and just kind of slowly go out too, because you still have colors, leftover colors in your brush. So I'm just gonna go over here that way. Start moving things. If you feel like you're not moving any colors anymore, maybe it's time to dip your brush in the water if you're not using a water brush. And this is why I love using the water brush, because it has a consistent flow of water, so I don't have to keep dipping. You know what I mean? And this one from Faber-Castell, the Deluxe water brush, really has some great controls. I've tried other ones and I end up with like a pool of water because it's like it's not consistent. This is the best one that I have tried and always get consistent water. I don't end up with flooding page because that can get really, really frustrating real quick. And trust me, I have had my fair share. It's like, no, everything got ruined because of the water. So pretty. It's like the natural gradient that you create when you're doing this, just creating the outer border of your image or of your shape. It's super fun. Yeah, you can make this into cards. You can get your die cut machine and start, cutting it into tags. Super fun. Create your own scrapbook paper. There's so much. I mean, really. All right. Yee-hee. I'm done with our lemon. I'm going to start adding my leaves on top. Okay. So this one, play around also with your shape. Maybe one is shorter, one is longer, just play around with it. So maybe you have one that's like facing a lot to the left like that. And then one is just sticking up. So it's going to be up to you. Like that. I want one that's sticking over here to the right side. And one is like really short. You can create 3 leaves if you'd like. Create some variety, and also you're creating interest in the page. So, not everything looks like the same. That looks like a clip art from the computer when everything is ending up looking the same. But when you kind of play around, and also don't be like me, try to stay on the top first before you go down, because you're going to end up with smeared markers. So no, bad lay. So do the top first and then go down. Ay. The lies I tell sometimes, because I don't do them all the time, and I end up with a mess. So just concentrate on the top lay. There we go. There. Some are really long. I have one more left. There. Okie dokie. Same thing. I'm gonna stay this time. Oops, too much water. See what happened there? I cleaned my brush and then I forgot to dab the excess water. Okay, that's how we learn. Don't ever forget to dab your brush so you can have enough water. There we go. And this is why it's just always really helpful to do one layer and one step at a time, one color at a time. So you don't always have to keep having to clean your brush, switching colors. Because this time I don't even have to clean my brush anymore because we're just doing the leaves. So we have the green. It's super fun and relaxing. Like that. I love it. So you can do this by making some flowers, like very simple shapes. I like to use when I'm just trying to decompress and just kind of relax are clouds, you know, try to create the cloud shape first, the borders on the outside, and then try it with this technique. You can create sun, hearts, but which we're going to do later. Hearts is we're going to fill in some of the extra areas in here. That way. And that's why sometimes when you feel overwhelmed, when you're trying to create something or want to do something, but you're overwhelmed, try with some of the really basic things first. And then from there, you can just, you know, move forward and say, oh, you know what, I've tried that. And so now I want to start creating a bouquet. But try not to put too much stress on yourself when you're creating something. Start with something simple. It's not going to be graded. No one's going to judge you. Just give yourself grace and just enjoy the process, because that's the most important part of all, is really enjoying this process. This is a good exercise also to create, you know, with your younger kids or grandkids, because it's super simple. They can definitely create it without pressure. There you go. So after I create all the leaves, what I'm going to do is start working on just kind of pulling them down so it will blend with the yellow much better with our lemon. Like that. Just be gentle, because I have heavy hands, so I always remind myself this too. Like that. It's super pretty. You know, if you created this in a much bigger space, you can definitely frame this. This is so pretty in the kitchen and all that. I like that. I feel like I need a yellow here, so I'm just going to add a little bit. I feel like I need a little bit of the yellow in there. So try to analyze. This is what I always say. So when you feel like, look at the whole picture and say, okay, Maybe I can add a little bit here and there. So always, always step away from, cut a little bit, just kind of back up and say, okay, how can I make this better? What's missing? I feel like I have an extra space in here. So just analyze your artwork and then make decisions from there. Also, knowing when to stop. That's always a hard part for me too. Okay, so over here, this is what I can do. I feel like I'm missing something. So I'm gonna add just the tip of the leaves. So we're creating like a seamless pattern in here. So just see where you're missing something, what you can add. I know I keep repeating myself, but really, it's just that simple. Just gonna add those. All right. And then start blending them. Just adding my leaves. And you know what? I love using watercolor markers instead of watercolor sometimes, because what happens is that, and I am gonna be totally transparent here. Sometimes I pick up so much colors that it's just sometimes does not look good. With markers, I feel like I can get better precision, you know, just getting enough amount of colors that I need. And that is why I love using watercolor markers and watercolor pencils. Because with my heavy hand, and also it depends if your palette is already super wet. So sometimes I end up picking up too much color. And it's just never, okay, maybe never is not true, but I always, most of the time, end up frustrated because I'm getting too much colors or too much water, or whatever. Okay, so now that we have this, everything looks really cute. If you want like add blue in here, I think it's gonna be fabulous. It reminds me of that fresh kitchen look. You can add blue hearts, blue dots. It's up to you what you'd like. I'm trying to decide here what I'd like. Maybe just blue dots. I'm just gonna add blue, small, start small, because you can adjust the size later if you want it big. So just kind of just fill in those empty spots. I'm not trying to overthink, just kind of going. And if you're a righty, start from the left, please. Don't be like me. Because see, look, once I go here, I'm going to smear the ones I created. But if I went to the left first and go to the right, I won't smear anything. So if you're a righty, start from the left. If you're a lefty, start from the right. Okay, I'm just filling in cusp. So now I have to be careful and just kind of lifting up my hands like this and not touching my paper so I don't smear the markers I created. But sometimes when you're working intuitively, you don't really think about these things, you know? Sometimes it's like, okay, I want to fill in this spot, fill in this spot. But just be mindful. I mean, if you know, here I caught myself there. So just be mindful of what you're doing. And I think there's nothing wrong working intuitively. And that's how I work when I'm creating artwork and projects, is that, but everything is still very intentional. So as long as you're intentional and you catch yourself like, okay, hey, Lay, you started there again. I'm doing it again. And then this time, I'm just going to dab those colors so we don't have the harsh lines again from the markers. Just kind of blurring it. But I'm going really soft because what happens is that when I'm trying to create, especially a circle shape, this is true story, guys. I try to just kind of blur everything. Then I can't stop. Then I keep going. Then I end up with this big circle. It's like, I knew I should have just stopped earlier. So just really go soft. Just gentle. This is super fun. I love this. Okay. Wow. We did it. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Lay,
Also know when to stop, okay?
Lay,
Because
can you hear me?
Yes,
Sorry, it looks
ma'am.
like your camera's frozen. I thought it was just me, but
Oh,
apparently it's several of us. So yeah, it must be on your end.
okie dokie. Let's do that again. Here we go.
There
I'm
we go.
back.
You're back.
Yep. So look at that. We actually did it, guys. It looks so cute. And if you have a little boo-boo of colors, just get your paper towel and just really pick up a little bit of water, because I did end up with some boo-boo because my paper is still wet. Some of it are still wet. So just be mindful of that. So I'm just cleaning up some of that. Or you can also clean your brush thoroughly and just kind of wet that area and pick up those colors. But sometimes I end up smearing it more. So I just kind of pick up a paper towel and just like that, lift up those colors, and there. It is super pretty. Now you have the option here to just add your cute faces if you want kawaii. I don't know if I'm going to add my cute faces, but I think I will. This is where it's going to be cute, because since we have a lot of different lemons, I feel like I want to add many different facial expressions. So I'm going to just show you just a few. We're going to start with just a simple 2 dots for the eyes first, and just a simple smile. See, I'm using now the extra small tip because I have a smaller space here. So I'm using just the excess. And then here I'm going to add like an upside down U for the eyes. And I'm just going to add, let me zoom in so you guys can see the faces because they're super cute. Hold on. So I just did an upside down U like that. Exactly. That's a good one, Anne. So you can add lashes in here. Yeah, some cool shades for summer is perfect. Okay. And then we'll add some glasses. Okay, how I want to do the glasses, I'm going to show you guys. Just start with that first, right? And then I'm going to go down. Whoop-de-doo. I'm going to add that. I'm going to fill in. You could actually, I love to do like heart shades. We can add one later here. This one is a cool Ray-Ban. Yay. Okay, maybe I should have used a different marker. It's okay. And just add the sides. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Cool dude. Super cute. Oh my gosh, I didn't see the mohawk. It does look like a mohawk. His hair. Biker. Super cute. This time you can actually pick up another color of this one, but you don't have to. I'm just going to show you because it's super cute. We're going to create another one wearing shades, but I'm just going to draw a heart shape like that. Let's pretend. Super cute. And I'm just going to add a smiley face. Okay, and then there should be some that's like meh. Don't be sour, lemon. Another pun. Really, like, he's so cute. One. And then I like a very calm. I don't know about you guys, but I am calm, says this lemon. Like that. And then sometimes you want to have different shapes of mouth. So it's kind of like, oh, I'm so sleepy. Then the other one's just kind of like this. not right now. Not today. Not today. And then you can create like long lashes like this. So just an upside down U, but lift that last stroke. So upside down U, but lift this one up again like that. Okay, let's move it here so you guys can see. And then just add 1, 2, 3 lashes. 1, 2. Your lines are kind of like curve going up like that. Okay, so just kind of like whoop, curling. And this one is just big, big, big happy smile. She is very cheeky. So cute. And then this one, let's add like surprised eyes. So 2 round circles. And then we're just gonna go 2 filled in oval, I should say. Like, oh, what? Okay, then this should be like circle too, like oval. Oh my gosh. And then create some eyebrows because that's gonna really add that expression like, oh. And then let's just add simple again because everybody else is extra. And she's just like, okay. And see how just my mouth is just kind of like slightly curved. And this is about things in kawaii. The more smaller sometimes things are or their features are, the cuter they are. And then here, it's like, okay, this one that's just, maybe this one's smiling. You can make this smiling by creating a big happy mouth like this. Laughing hard. And then we can just have this one too. Kind of like what we created earlier. And just happy. And then you can start adding in your blush if you like. Sometimes I'm scared to add my blush because I really have like heavy hands. I know I repeat it a lot. I say it a lot, but I do. So just be careful. Be mindful of your blush. And I'm not even going to do the watercolor in here because I don't want to mess her up. So I'm just going to add the blush in the ones that has lashes. But this is it. We create a cute pattern. And when you take out your washi tape, you're going to end up with very perfect borders. Over there. See? And you can turn this, give this to someone as a card. Look at that. We created this one. Yay. Thank you guys so much. I hope this was inspiring. See how simple that was? I mean, lemon, but look at the many cute faces of lemon. It's like every single one of them has their own story. And it's super duper cute. Thank you, Pat. Thank you so much. Thank you, Faber-Castell, for this wonderful class. Thank you, Michaels, for always having me. Thank you, Faber-Castell. It's always such a pleasure. We can't wait to see what you guys create. Please, please share it with us on Instagram, Faber-Castell USA. You can also follow me on Instagram at Mommy Lay. I would love to see what you created today. Thank you guys for joining in. Until next class, I am super excited. I can't wait to see you there. Have a beautiful day. We'll talk to you again very soon. Bye, everybody. Thank you.